So this is a topic that I've been hearing a lot about lately, and I've seen a lot of videos about it on YouTube too, about like the top turnoffs in a guy. And the reasons that I've been hearing that are mentioned are stuff like, oh, he just really doesn't have any kind of fashion sense, like at all. Like he'll wear an Abercrombie shirt with Hollister pants, and ew, that is just not cute. Or something like, he just doesn't look enough like Brad Pitt to turn off, or he just doesn't have a British accent. That's a big turn off to me. So I'm just like, these are just really shallow, secular, worldly reasons, and I'm thinking, if I were to make a list about my top turnoffs in a guy, what would they be? So I put a list together, and I'm gonna share it with you guys. Let me know what you think. Maybe you can share with me your top turnoffs too. So let's see. The first one is probably definitely a guy who tries to follow the crowd, no individuality. Tries to be like what he sees on MTV. The people who wear their pants down past their butt, like they've never heard of a belt before, or just always wearing brand names and never doing their own thing, just always worried about what everyone else is doing. That's just a big turn off to me. Like, be yourself. Don't be like everyone else. That's boring. Um, Second thing that's a big turn off to me is a guy who is really lukewarm about his faith. Like, if you're a Christian, but you're still up in the club drinking and fornicating with all these other women, uh, no. So, I mean, if you're gonna have Jesus in your life, you best be acting like it. I can't stand I can't stand it when a guy says he's a Christian, but he's just like, oh yeah, do you want to pray for me? But he's just like, oh no, I don't really do that whole prayer thing. Yeah, whatever. No. The third thing is a guy who tries to come at me with sexual comments or sexual flirting, kind of like call me baby girl or hey sexy or you know crossing the line between what's appropriate, and I'm just like, that's not how you talk to a lady at all. Do I look like someone who wants to be talked to that way? I don't appreciate it. Um, a fourth thing probably is a guy who is afraid of commitment. Like there's a lot of guys like that. Guys who just want to see how many people they can get with, how many girls they can score with, or boost their ego or whatever. What I'm looking for is a guy who is serious about a relationship, serious about marriage, not just in it to see where things go or have fun with it or anything. The next thing as a big turnoff to me is a guy who can't lead me spiritually or makes me feel like I'm the man in the relationship. This could be a lot of different things. Um, a man who can't spiritually lead me, that, for an example, that's like, I come to them with a problem, and they can't offer me any advice. They can't offer to pray with me. They can't listen to my problem. They're just kind of like, well, I don't know, figure it out. Or they make me feel like I'm the man in the relationship, where I make all the decisions, where everything's up to me. I decide where to go eat. I decide what we're gonna do. I hold open the door. I pay. That's fine for me to do every once in a while. But if you're the man, please, I expect you to act like it. Um, the next thing is that a big turnoff to me is a guy with a potty mouth. If they can't even control it to the point where they're cursing all the time, and there's little kids in the room or there's old people, and they're still dropping the f bomb because they don't even notice it or they can't control it. That's a big turnoff to me. It makes you sound uneducated and ignorant. The next thing is a guy who cannot hold deep conversations. If all you can talk about is Megan Fox, Xbox Live, and fantasy football, that's a big turnoff to me. I want to hear some good, deep, intellectual, stimulating conversations. Really get into the heart of matters and have an opinion about stuff. Think about stuff. Bring up different topics and ideas and theologies. That's the kind of stuff that I like. Um, this leads into the next one that's a big turnoff for me, as a guy that has no strong opinions, or beliefs, or convictions. When you ask this is a huge turn off to me. I asked this one guy once, it's like, so what's your opinion of, gun control? And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, well, this is what I think, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, yeah, I agree. And I was like, so you agree this and this? Like, yeah, sure. I'm like, okay. And so I asked him about something else. I was like, okay, what about the opinion of the death penalty? And he was like, well, I think it's bad. And I was like, oh, well, okay. I was like, okay, at least he has an opinion. So then I said, oh, well, I think it's okay because blah, 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 blah. And he was like, oh, yeah, you're right. And so I was like, how can you not have any type of convictions if you're just gonna, you're just gonna bend your opinion because someone makes a statement against it? Like, if you believe in God and someone makes an argument like, what if God, like, doesn't exist? And then you're like, oh my gosh, what if he doesn't? Like, that's just, dude, come on. That's a turnoff. The next thing that's a big turnoff for me is someone who doesn't do anything with their life, is lazy, has nothing to show for their singleness. You know, if you're single, do something with that time. You don't have someone to look out for, you don't have bills to pay, you don't have children, you don't have to take care of someone else in a relationship. Have something to show for your time. Like, what have you been doing for God? Like, how have you been growing and, learning about yourself and building yourself up and building your character? The next thing that is a big turnoff for me is someone who is reliable and, someone who's reliable in the good times when things are easy, but then as soon as things start to get rough, they completely fall apart. Like, where did that reliable guy go? Like, where'd he go? Like, the littlest thing could happen. Like, I don't know. They realize that they're getting a bad grade in school, and so they completely fall apart. Like, oh my gosh, I can't deal with this. They just fall to pieces. Instead of standing up, being a man, and doing the work that they need to in order to get the A, they just kind of like collapse in a corner and cry about it, and just like, I can't. That's not the kind of man that I can rely on. If things start to get rough in a marriage, I expect some help or some support, not be able to do everything on my own. The last thing that is a big turnoff to me is a guy who doesn't understand what it means to guard your heart. Like, today in dating relationships, a lot of guys will just rely on the woman to make all the important decisions, especially when it comes to sexual activity. Like, this guy once told me that he'll let me go as far as I let him. And at the time, I didn't really understand why that was such a bad thing. Until later, I was like, the man is supposed to be the spiritual leader, and he's supposed to be the one protecting the woman's heart, being her protector, honoring her, and, keeping her heart from damage, and being the man spiritually. And if he's like, casting off his responsibility onto the girl, and, she's gonna get hurt, and he's just not being the protector that he's meant to be. It's a big turnoff when a guy can't do the honorable thing and respect a woman and protect her heart. So that's probably it. I think I said maybe 11 things. So leave a comment or maybe mention some of your turnoffs, and we'll have a good conversation about it. Thanks.